Alright guys, we're going to do a quick little walk through the shop here for the Baileigh Industrial TN-250 tube notcher giveaway on OFN. In this box here was well, that's probably going to wreak havoc on YouTube, I won't do that. This was a box that a 500R conversion frame came in. It was shipped to me from South Dakota. There's another one over there. Came in from Ohio. I swapped the 250 class motors out. Let me walk over here real quick. Swap out the 250 class motors. You can see one here on this frame in for the larger CR500 engines, and I do new cradles at the bottom, motor mounts. I kind of jig everything up with all the suspension points up at the steering neck, the shock mount right there underneath the sprocket shaft on that motor where the down tube comes in, and then there at the swing arm pivot bolt, I fixture all that stuff up, cut all the old frame out, weld in new 1/8 4130 chromoly. So we'll be looking at the fixtures and stuff in that in a minute. This is another one of my bikes. This is an 86 ATC 250R with a arched tube style swing arm that I just finished building about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. I haven't gotten a powder coat or anything yet. I just wanted to put it on there, run a little bit, make sure everything worked good. It's 1/1/8 083 wall. It's chromoly tubing. It's trying to get close here. You can see it. There's this point here where everything was that was all hand ground to get that to come together, and then weld together to the front pivot up here. This is one of the Harbor Freight roll benders. Got some extra dies for it. I've got in it the Swag Off-Road 1/1/8 die set. Works really well, very affordable. That's what I made the arch swing arm on that bike out of. Okay, these two pieces of angle here you're looking at, this is my main 250R swing arm fixture. Let me kind of walk around here a little bit. As you can see, it's got a lot of adjustability on it. The holes here in the front, I should have probably put it together a little bit before I started the video, but this bolt goes through the front pivots where the arm bolts onto the frame. They go in there. I have spacer tube here that spaces them out. This actually locates the shock mount, and then I have these aluminum spacers here that you're looking at with that big long bolt that locates the carrier location, each one of these holes on the back for whatever over length I want. Okay, well, this is a kind of a project I've been working on lately. These are going to be exhaust mount hangers for the 250Rs. The original ones are discontinued. They're like 35, 38 bucks a piece from the Honda dealer when you could get them. Pretty much these little pieces of stainless tubing that I've got, they go on there, and then I've got some stainless here that was plasma cut out, which I won't do again. I will get laser cut. I weld this up around through here, and I have a friend in Michigan that's real good with pouring rubber compounds, all kinds of anti-vibration stuff. I have a bolt boss that goes in the middle here in that hole. He has another plate that's just like this one. So he locates the middle boss, and he pours it with rubber, and we take them out, and that's kind of something we've been working on. Hopefully the stainless will polish up nice, be something good for everybody. This is my little black book of secrets. Can't look in that. Got to close that up. Let's see. There's my TIG welder. That's a very old Miller dial arc. I think it's 1970s or something. I've kind of got the cords and the pedal and everything put up. I was trying to sweep earlier. Let's see. This right here is a frame rotisserie. Whenever I do the conversions or if I'm working on anything, the steering neck actually bolts on in here, and it lets the whole frame stick out, and I can rotate it around and get around it real easy for welding. I take my little cut down office chair that I sit on to weld and roll it over there, and I can go all around it. This is this is one of the first fixtures, I guess you can call it that I ever made. It locates all the suspension points on the frame so that whenever I cut them apart, nothing springs. This is the top shock mount. This is the pivot area for the swing arm. This is the rear shock linkage mount, and this is just where a little chain guide roller goes on. And this right here is actually one of the frames that it bolts into. This is another fixture that Dad and I worked on and just kind of finished putting it together about, I don't know, a month and a half ago, just to make things a little bit easier. This is all 3-inch square tubing. There's 5/16 holes drilled and threaded on 1-inch centers just about everywhere on it, just so that I can make things like this and bolt onto it for different frames, whatever. This is one of the frames. This is actually the one that's in from South Dakota that I'm going to be putting the 500 motor in. I'll pretty much cut all this out in here. This will all be gone up to right about here, and then I'll make new frame rails that come down and tie in. This back part here with a shock linkage mount is going to be cut out right along in there, and I have a kind of a bent tube that's got a low place in it, and I have new mounts that come out and tie into this here. That's what that other fixture over there is for, to locate that stuff. Alright, so here's the old Bridgeport milling machine that I do most of my tube notching work with right now. You can see I got I guess that's probably an 1 1/8 hole saw in it right now. Set up on just this old regular vise. Does the job, but I'm real limited on the angle that I can turn the head back and forth. Can't do any type of real notching and bends because of how the vise is set up. The radial vise of the TN-250, the way that clamps, that's just like a huge advantage. I looked at buying a 3-angle vise for this thing a while back, and to get one in a decent size and then still have to have the real wide clamping surface, it didn't make any sense to me. So this is what I've been using. Works good, but it takes a lot of setup time. You're still very limited by what you can do with it. This is my JD Square Model 3 bender, like one of the best things that I've ever bought for shop equipment. I've been able to learn and do so much from that. Never knew anything about bending tube or doing tube work or anything, and that lets me bend up my new cradles on the 500 conversions. I've made some grab bars and some pretty cool stuff with that. This is his South Bend lathe. I just posted a thing on OFN 2 nights ago about the gear repair we did on it. The bull gear had gotten about 6 teeth knocked off of it whenever we had to chuck into a tool post a little bit earlier last month, and that was unfortunate, but we were able to get the thing fixed, and Gear Shop in Jacksonville, Florida won $150 a tooth to do it. I got a pound of 99% nickel rod from a welding shop over in Lake City, and I TIG welded it all up after I knocked the flux off of it because it was arc rod. And we found a gear shop in town locally that was able to put the teeth back in it. It was a standard number 10 gear pitch. They had the hob and everything there, so that cost us another $100, and so we had the gear fixed for, between time and labor and everything, I'd say around 200 and some change, and that was nice to go, because otherwise this thing would have been probably close to scrap. It doesn't have a real good parts supply around for that old South Bend stuff anymore. It's like a 1932 model, I think it is. So that's the shop. Hope you enjoyed the little tour. It's not perfect, but it's got a lot of stuff and just about everything we need minus a TN-250 tube notcher.